Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Charles Folkart. It's January 26, 5:42 a.m. It's a little chilly outside, 16 degrees. And it's another day, man. I got up. I'm breathing in and out. I've been up for over an hour, had a cup of coffee, and I got something I want to share with you all. I hope you'll enjoy it. I have. Let's go have a look, shall we? Okay, we're over here at that video that I got sent by the chief, and Spaceballs, and it's the Mega Maid scene. I don't watch too many Hollywood movies, and I certainly don't give them my money. But hey, it's on the internet for free, and we're going to take a look at this. It's only a few minutes long, and I want you to understand that there's people that know what's going on. There's people that understand that all this is fake. And don't tell me that Stanley Kubrick, who did the moon landing in a warehouse somewhere, probably in Hollywood, isn't sitting around sometimes at the party with his Hollywood friends and actors and other producers. And, close friends, not everybody, but close friends. And he says, hey, can you guys keep a secret? And he tells them what he did. And come on, for example, on 9/11, people know that 19 Arabs with box cutters, with cardboard cutters, didn't hijack 4 airplanes. But the American people are so naive, and they'll put it on the screen and show them a picture and have Walter Cronkite when I was younger, or Dan Rather, and all these other ones now, Megyn Kelly or Wolf Blitzer, tell them what it means. And like Nixon said, if it's on TV, they don't believe it until it's on TV. They've used this absolutely amazing technology to transfer picture over the airways into people's living rooms for their entire life to brainwash and program us. And there's still people today that don't get it. They just don't get it. I've been fortunate because I haven't watched a lot of television. I just haven't been interested in it. It's too, most of the stuff on there is for lower intelligent people. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody, and that doesn't mean that I'm that much smarter than anybody, but come on, I just don't want to sit there and take this programming in. I saw through it when I was a young man. But most people haven't. That's their level of living. Sorry to go off on like that, but man, it's just amazing how this television has had an effect on the American people, especially. All right? Especially Americans. But I'm going to have to switch my software, unhook my microphone. I'm going to play this through so you can hear it. And then when we get to the end, I'll come back on. Hold on. Alrighty, I found this video on my account in Twitter, and there's an individual there who is able to find all these, and this one's interesting. The first half of this was on seeing the stars in the sky in the pictures, and they compare it to when the astronauts came back from the Apollo early landing, Neil Armstrong and all the Buzz Aldrin, and they're all having their interview. And if you haven't seen that interview, you need to go watch that. That's all you really need to know. Those guys were very uncomfortable lying about what they didn't do. And if you don't see that, then I can't help you. They're lying, and they don't want to lie, but they're part of the whole deception of the space program. Anyway, you'll have to come back and watch the first half if you're interested in that. But what I want to concentrate on is the vacuum that we talked about in the previous video. There is no vacuum in space, and we're going to be able to prove it because of what was said and what was done on the earlier Apollo space landings, or alleged space landings on the moon, which didn't take place on the moon, and you're going to be able to see that here in a minute. The evidence is going to show they didn't do it in space. If space is a vacuum, there's no sound in space. There's no sound in a vacuum. There's no way for the air, the vibration of the air, which is cycles moving in the air, and it needs the air to move through. And we talked about that in the previous video. So here we go. I'll just let them talk. Yogi Berra, so right. You can learn a lot just by observing. And Numbers 32:23, easy to remember. It's Numbers 32:23. Be sure that your sin will find you out. Well, we're about to see a sin that is going to be found out. It's being found out now. So let's have a look.
You see, the vibration of my voice box makes the air vibrate between us. Then when the air vibrates your eardrum, you hear what I'm saying. But maybe you've seen a demonstration of a bell under a glass jar. With normal air inside the jar, you could hear the bell clearly. But when the vacuum pump drew the air out of the jar, there was nothing inside to carry the vibrations of the bell. Nothing until the air was let back into the jar.
They can't together your photo numbers. And this is clear tube number 2. Okay, just in fact, you're almost driving without a hammer. But if you'll hand it to me, I'll get it in a second. I'm going to take a couple more shots of this before we leave. Get all in, I get the pictures. Alright? Drive in real easy, Houston.
The sounds in space, it's odd to have a hammer or a metal tool and bang it against something and hear absolutely nothing. You can, sound won't travel in a vacuum, so there you are outside and you could be hitting something, no sound at all.
In space, since there's no atmosphere, there's no air, if you bang on something when you're doing your spacewalk, you will not be able to hear that.
And this leads us to the dilemma of our final segment. All modern astronauts, such as Piers Sellers and Mike Massimino, claim to hear absolutely nothing when they're out on the International Space Station in the vacuum, banging away with metal tools and objects, whereas during the Apollo missions, all kinds of sounds have been recorded that should not be possible if they are on the moon in the vacuum of space.
Okay, just in fact, you're almost driving without a hammer. But if you'll hand it to me, I'll get it in a second. I'm going to take a couple more shots of this before we leave. Get all in, I get the pictures. Alright? Drive in real easy, Houston.
That does not sound like the spacesuit acting like a drum at all. It sounds like a metal hammer striking a metal object repeatedly with authority. Pictured is Alan Bean during Apollo 12 striking a metal core tube into the so-called lunar surface with a metal hammer. This is an interview with Apollo astronauts Alan Bean and Pete Conrad done by the Apollo Lunar Surface Journal. They are once again taking the position that the sound is coming through the hand and transmitting into the microphones in the helmet. Alan Bean says, "I would have said it wasn't possible," and Pete Conrad responds, "The other guy can't hear it." If the sound is coming through Alan Bean's microphone, then like his voice, it must be transmitted directly into the headset of Pete Conrad, so his statement makes no sense. Alan Bean's statement makes a lot of sense, since it would not have been possible in a vacuum. When Bean says, "I would have said it wasn't possible," he has science on his side. And he also has NASA on his side, at least up until August 19th, 2011. And this brings us to the most important graphic in the film. This is a web page that has been disappeared from the internet by NASA as of August 2011. It was at nasa.gov, running concurrently with the Apollo Lunar Surface Journal between 2009 and September 2011. However, this page, which was created for children, you can see the banner at the top, Lunar Science for Kids. This page directly contradicts the assertions made in the Apollo Lunar Surface Journal concerning the hammering sounds in Apollo 12, 15, and 17. This page talks about the science involved with sound on the moon, and it does so correctly. And that is why NASA has disappeared it from the web. The contradiction between the journal and this page was brought up in the very popular Moon Zoo forum. And that is where I first became aware of the situation. Reader Tom128 pointed out the contradiction between the site for children and the journal. And I went looking for the site for children and could not find it. I then went to my favorite research tool, the Wayback Machine at archive.org, and I was able to find an old version of the page that NASA did not clean up. And whenever I see information go missing from the web, it always starts me thinking, and this was the genesis of the film. At that moment, I became a NASA moon hoax researcher. You've seen the image on the right of the graphic before. That is Alan Bean hammering a core tube during Apollo 12, and this is the sound of such hammering. The graphic is problematic for NASA because of the contradiction to the journal, and the graphic is correct science. And I quote, "Sound needs something to travel through to get from one place to another. On the moon, since there is no air, sound cannot travel above the surface. So, there are no sounds on the surface of the moon. When the Apollo astronauts were out on the moon's surface, they could only talk to each other and to mission control by using the radios in their air-filled helmets. Even when the astronaut in the photo to the right hit a metal tube into the ground with a hammer, no sound was made."
Oh, I did a previous video on how NASA and in Hollywood, they're laughing at us. They mock us, people. They're mocking us. And we keep giving them money, $20 billion a year for NASA. And there's still people that can't bring their mind. They can't accept the reality that there is no space program. It's all faked on the screen. I was a contractor for many years, and one of the first jobs I did for the government, I was so naive. I said, you know what, I'm going to be one of the contractors that's not going to rip off the military. I worked for the U.S. Navy near my town, near my home in Humboldt County, California. This is the truth. There's so much money to be made in a government contract that it's just unbelievable. There's pork everywhere. I can't even begin to tell you how much money I could have made from the government if I would have kept going. But I would have had to be out of town, and I would have had to be away from my family, so I chose not to go that route. But people, it's called pork. And they spread the pork out all over the country, and they get people to have a job and a high pay. There's a lot of these guys at NASA that are making big bucks, and it's coming to an end, folks. Can't you see that? Apollo missions were faked. It's fake. It's all fake. Get over it. I had one guy tell me that Neil deGrasse Tyson was not lying to us. You know, maybe he wasn't lying to us. Maybe he doesn't know the truth. But he comes across, he's got a PhD. And I don't know if he earned it or he just given it to him because he's a black man or what. But, come on. He either doesn't know he's lying and therefore he's stupid, or he knows he's lying, he's getting paid very handsomely to lie to us, and so he's a liar. So either he's stupid or a liar, or he's both stupid and a liar. I don't know what else to tell you, folks. There's a lot of people that understand what's going on. They can accept that they've been lied to. I didn't buy into the lie of 9/11 because I didn't watch TV very much, so I didn't get my news from the screen. When I was in Asia, when that happened, 2001, I went to the internet to do my research to find out what was going on. I didn't go to CNN and CBS and all those Jewish-controlled outlets, which is now coming out. It's fake news. Come on, folks. How much more evidence do you need? And there was one more thing I wanted to bring up, and let me pause so I can think about it for a moment. Well, I can't remember it, but anyway, I'm back here at my channel, and I want to encourage you to support BitChute. We got another option besides you. Oh, I know what it was. That's what it was. They're scrubbing information off the internet, folks. The guy brought it up in the video. When 4 or 5 years ago, I used to be able to go and find what I was looking for on the front page of the search engine, because it was an organic search, the algorithms of Google were honest. They're changing that now. They're hiding stuff for it. They're scrubbing it off the internet. The video I showed you yesterday, where we went to the NASA links, site not found, link not found, link not found, link not found. They're taking it off. Luckily, people have been able to catch them. They go to this website, Internet Archive, in the Wayback Machine. See, folks, they're lying to us. Okay, I made my point. Hey, I would encourage you to, this guy's the biggest, probably one of the biggest liars on the planet. And Jesus Christ is not a Jew. The Israelites, this is probably the biggest lie of history, that Jesus Christ is a Jew. Jesus Christ was not Jewish. The Israelites were not Jewish. That has affected everything since that point forward. Up until the 50s, 40s, 50s, people didn't believe the Israelites were Jewish. That's all come about from the Schofield reference Bible. I have other videos on that. My blog, keyrexreplies.blogspot.com especially, has in-depth content material showing how Schofield was used to deceive, dupe, fool millions of, quote, Judeo-Christians. The deception is so large that most people cannot wrap their mind around it. They're so narrow-minded, and basically they're stupid because they refuse to look at the evidence and come to a proper conclusion based on the evidence. That's all I got to say for now. I could say a lot more, but let's call it there. Embrace the love of the truth, and may the grace of God, our Creator, who created a level plane Earth covered with a firmament. There is no vacuum in space. We're not spinning around the sun. We're stationary. And may His grace be with us all, for we certainly need it. See ya.
It's crucial to remember that people pay more attention to your demeanor than they do your evidence.
That's right.
It's crucial to remember that people pay more attention to your demeanor than they do your evidence.
That's right.